can't see where the comment thing is, or does that show up as people tune in?
I'll say hi, Becca.
Okay. Let's see.
Also, oh, there we go. Now you're on there.
Okay, good. Oh, wait, okay.
I'm going to mute that because it's slightly delayed.
Okay. So, I didn't see your comment come through.
Weird.
And I can't see any viewers yet. Do you see anyone here?
I see, yeah, I see 17.
Oh, hello, everyone. Okay, well, that's good. I am still seeing, it says I have excellent connection, but no views, and I couldn't see your comment come through. If you're hearing this and you can send a comment, please do. Trying to figure out, do I go to studio mode, do you think?
I don't remember.
No.
Can you share your screen with me on the Google Meet?
Yes, 1 second. Hang tight, everyone.
Someone named Taylor says they can see it.
Okay, hi Taylor. Thanks for letting us know. We're just figuring out why I can't see anyone's comments. Okay, so here's what I have set up. See this? How it says 0? Oh, now it says I have 1 view.
I can only see our Google Meet.
Oh, crap.
And the live went to your orange background.
Oh, 1 minute, everyone. Okay, screen 2. There's that. Okay, can you see my window now, Lily?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, now it's saying this. 23 views. Please configure.
Yeah, it's catching.
Uh-oh. Hold on. There we go. Okay, now I can see chat. Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thanks, Lily. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye. Okay. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? I can now finally see the chat, so this is great. I feel like I'm back. Okay, yes, that screen's good to go. I can see the chat. Let me get my chat in a new window. Let's see, I don't think I can get the chat in a new window, actually. Well, lovely. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. My name's Becca. I'm the owner of Homemade Social. This is going to be the last time I'm hosting our famous Unfuckwithable webinar. I have hosted it twice before, and it has been a hit, so much so that after hosting the first time, I knew I needed to bring it back in the new year. But if you could do me a favor, go ahead and comment where you are based out of right now. Someone says I'm very quiet. I will turn that up. Okay, how is the noise now? Hoping volume is better for you. I recognize some familiar names. This is great. Hello. Nicole, let me know if my audio level is better now. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I will just hang tight. Oh my gosh, we have someone from Germany. That's amazing. Phoenix, hello from Phoenix, Atlanta, Georgia, Northern California. Nicole, I'm actually from Northern California too. Hi, Kit. You guys, Kit makes the best cookies. She made us cookies right before Christmas. They were incredible. Syracuse, I hope the weather's not too cold there. And Mildred, I'm glad you get to attend for the first time too. Okay, great. I'm glad chat is working. If you guys do have questions as I'm going through the presentation, I encourage you to write your questions in the chat. The Homemade Social team is tuning in our other room in our office, and they're going to be writing down your questions, and they'll bring me them all at the end, so I don't have to keep track of them during the live. So if you have questions, note them in the chat. I'll get to them later. Oh, and Nicole, I'm from Sonoma County, so I'm just a little south of you. I grew up in Santa Rosa. But okay, so let's get started. Welcome to the Unfuckwithable webinar. I really started this journey to becoming unfuckwithable really in the last year, and I noticed huge changes not only in my personal life but in my professional life too. And that is what I'm hoping to teach you guys today. Essentially, we're going to be working on creating boundaries and systems in your service-based business that fuel you, your team, and your clients. So if you've never met me before, or if you're kind of new to following along our homemade social journey, my name is Becca Booker. I'm from Santa Rosa, California. I'm an Aries and an Enneagram 3. And if you know me, I am very true to both of those stereotypes or whatever. I have actually worked in social media since 2012. I feel like it was kind of luck and skill that got me to where I am today. I just happened to enter college right as Instagram was like really starting to take off. So I feel like I was one of the few marketing degree graduates who had a lot of experience on social media management for brands. But I started freelancing full time as a social media manager and social media advertising manager in October of 2017. And then I rebranded and grew to what is now Homemade Social in February of 2019. So we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary in about 3 weeks, which is crazy. And we're now an 11-person agency. So if you had told me this is where we would be 5 years ago, I seriously wouldn't have believed you. We've had 2 new offices since then, and we're seeing consistent growth, and I'm very thankful for it. So I do want to mention, please stay until the end of the live for a live-only discount. It will save you $500 later on. But let's get into our boundaries work. So like I said with Homemade Social, it has opened up so many doors for me. I didn't come from an entrepreneurial background. I didn't come from an entrepreneurial family. My family is actually like basically a family of engineers and educators, like very science-based and very like I have a ton of teachers in my family, which is kind of ironic because like here I am doing this webinar teaching you guys. So maybe I'm more aligned than I think I am. But my opportunities with Homemade Social have allowed me to travel to the Bahamas for client shoots. I've gotten to go to New York Fashion Week. I've gotten to grow an amazing team of all-female women, or all-female team, and just gotten to speak on stages I didn't think was ever possible. But at the same time, this growth has allowed me to transform my personal life as well. Ever since I started Homemade Social, I was in a pretty toxic relationship in my personal life. I got out of that relationship and I met who is now my fiance. I'm actually getting married in, I think, 78 days, but who is counting? I got a dog. I just had my bachelorette trip. We just bought a home. And it's been really exciting. So I'm hoping you guys can see the same trajectory I've been able to see because of these boundaries that I have implemented. And also, just like a quick humble brag, we just found this out like a week or 2 ago. We were listed on Vendry's top influencer marketing and UGC agencies for 2024. So it just feels great to be like recognized from an outside source in addition to like knowing how much growth we're seeing internally. So it's just very validating to have that come through, and I'm really proud of us. So during this webinar, we're going to be covering all the boundaries I have implemented in 4 areas. So my calendar, my phone, my email, and obviously on my social media. As the owner of a social media agency, I really have to be careful with how much time I'm spending on it. That have allowed our agency to close $778,000 in revenue actually this number should be 2023. Obviously we haven't closed 2024, but we closed 2023 at 778,000, which is incredible. So let me know if you guys, as I'm going through this component of our slides, if you guys could relate at all to this, depending on how long you've been in the industry. So in 2020, we all know what happened. The pandemic hit, quarantine hit, and there's a really big shift in the world and the economy and how people use social media. So at this time, oh yes, someone commented, make my volume louder. Is that better? I just made it a little louder. I can also go a little bit closer to my microphone. But so in 2020, I had been in business for 2 years and I was working 45 to 55 hours a week. At this time, I had, I think, 2 team members. I was just starting to hate my job and I was starting to hate my clients, which was leading me to starting to hate social media. Uh, as you guys know, with a lot of the like political movements that happened in 2020, not just because of the pandemic, but it was an election year. Like there was a lot that happened on social media, and it was just kind of a toxic place to be hanging out. And I didn't have any boundaries built into my business, and so I was getting texts from clients like this. Like this is just to my personal cell phone from a client. We need to change all of the ads to link to this link ASAP. We launched with this campaign just now. I was like, okay, great. Thanks for letting me know in advance. And then also clients aren't supposed to text me. And another one, Becca, can you give me a quick call? This should only take 5 minutes. And I was receiving this text after 5 p.m. on like a Friday. And I was like, hey, unfortunately, I'm off for the day. And I had to be like, per our agreement, I am not working right now. It was just very unprofessional. And it would stress me out because I am a people pleaser at my core. I don't think I was taught to really have boundaries. I was just taught to say yes to like everything. And so it would take a large amount of my mental capacity to then work up the courage to explain and say like no, and then I'd feel anxious about it after. I'd be like, oh my god, they hate me, they're gonna fire me. And I'm sure you guys can probably relate to this too. But at the same time, like business was booming. So many businesses were obviously redirecting their marketing dollars to be in the digital space because they could no longer market in-person events or, and a lot of other marketing avenues that were no longer profitable because of the pandemic. So a lot of businesses were moving their marketing budgets to social, to digital, to email, and it was great for business. I was making 6 figures, but I was like so burnt out and exhausted. And yes, this will be recorded for you guys. So I was going through my screenshots in 2020, and these are actually some posts I was screenshotting. I think this one was in maybe April. So this one, 2020 is a leap year, and it leaped right into some bullshit. Next, doing social media for a living is great. I'm tethered to unethical and toxic platforms all day, and everyone I've ever met thinks they could do my job better because they have 500 Instagram followers. And then lastly, this is a screenshot I took in October of 2020. So I was like finally starting to come around to like, oh my gosh, something has to change. I am so fed up. And the screenshot is, just because you're home all day doesn't mean that people are allowed to access your energy 24/7. So I was like, starting to see I needed to make changes. And so ever since I have implemented these boundaries, now that I'm on like the other side, we're now 2024. I work 35 hours a week. Our agency made $778,000 last year. I'm able to max out my retirement accounts. I now own 2 properties, one of with my fiance, or I don't know how I'm saying that. One of them I own with my fiance. And then all while managing a team of 11 and planning my wedding for April 5th. And in addition to like me working now 35 hours a week, my team does too. 6 of my employees are full-time, and I was able to reduce their working hours from 40 to 35 hours a week without any changes to pay. And we have 1 new part-time EA and 1 contracted team member who also works part-time. And then our remaining 4 interns work about 15 hours a week. So that should give you an idea of kind of like our working capacity and how often we are connected and on. So you would think that like by reducing our working hours by 12.5%, so going from 40 hours to 35 hours a week, you would think like we would be making less. But our agency actually achieved 35% more revenue year over year with the same number of team members. And the revenue impact allowed us to further increase salaries and provide more benefits to our employees, which then allowed us to, so essentially staff costs increased 34%, which allowed us to directly improve our team's productivity, their quality of work, and overall employee retention, which has been so nice because I don't have to spend as much time training. We have like a solid group of team members who also respect having to hustle for 35 hours each week and knowing that they don't have to work beyond 40. It has been a very nice culture change. But the change that needed to happen, most importantly, was that I had to change my self-worth and define what I wanted my life to look like. I was like quickly realizing like if I continue to let clients walk all over me like this, or if they have access to my phone number at all times, if I'm on social media at all hours of the day, I am going to hate my job. Like, I'm not going to be able to make a career out of this. And so I had to, step away and realize like my life doesn't have to be like this. I can still manage a successful agency and work with clients who can respect my boundaries. I just have to put them in place and clearly define them so that we can have a healthy working relationship. So I first sought help through a couple of different ways. First, therapy. And I always recommend BetterHelp or Talkspace. Those are like the virtual therapy sessions. And I truly believe that in order to see changes in your career, changes in your work life, you have to first work on your personal life. Because like my personal self-worth had to be improved before I could be like, oh yes, I want to grow my agency to $1 million, which I do want to. But like that thought wasn't even like in my mind. I was just like surviving at the time. So going to therapy really helped. I also hired a business coach. I also hired a communication coach. So that way, once we did have our boundaries in place, and let's say a client tried to overstep a boundary or we had to reinforce it, we then had the tools to communicate to that client like, hey, you're overstepping a boundary per our policies. This is the situation, and how to, create a long-term successful relationship with the client, even with small conflicts like that. And another great resource, and this one is probably the most cost effective out of the four, there's an amazing community called To Be Magnetic. They have a free podcast with a bunch of great information, but they also have a membership. It kind of is a blend of like manifestation and meditation. And I would, if you guys haven't heard of it, it is fantastic. I would feel free to screenshot this slide and look into what their offerings are, but I really love their resources. Okay, and so as I mentioned, I redefined my boundaries in 4 key areas, and first we're gonna look at my calendar. So this is where it's gonna start to get really juicy. So first, I needed to define clearly our office hours because these are really the secret to maintaining a healthy work-life balance. It makes it so that after 5 p.m., I know I don't have to respond to any client inquiries, and they know I'll get back to them in the morning. So at Homemade Social, we're available to our clients via email, Monday through Thursday between 9 and 5 p.m., and then Fridays between 9 and 12. And it's really important that you state your hours of operation, not only in your contract, but we also re-emphasize our hours of operation in our new client welcome packet. But the key here is to let clients know how quickly they should expect you to reply. So for example, we always say within 24 business hours. So that way I know if I'm getting an email from a client, let's say at 3 p.m., I know it's not urgent, but I am already slammed for the day. I can put that off to getting back to them the next morning. Or, and I feel like this is the best practice, if I get an email from a client at 3 p.m., I can't get to it right away, I'll reply saying like, hey, received your email. Let me look into this for you. I'll get back to you tomorrow. So like I don't have to take action right then and there, but it lets the client know and reassures them like I'm doing our best to serve you and I'll help you fix this first thing tomorrow. Another great hack is to add your office hours into your email signature. So I have linked my business phone number and our office hours in our email signature. That's it. That way there should be like literally no confusion, because 90% of the time clients are looking at your email signature and replying when they are drafting an email and expecting a response. So if you guys could do me a favor, comment in the chat the last time you took a real unplugged vacation. So like I'm talking, you were completely clocked out, didn't have to check email, didn't have to post for clients. Like, when was the last time you did that? And I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'm gonna wait in the chat for you guys to respond. And also, this is important to me because I'm going on my honeymoon this summer. So it's really important for me to be able to take a real unplugged vacation too. a year ago. Okay, not bad. It's been a while. The last time I did this webinar, there were people who said either never, yeah, can't remember a time. People said never, or it was their honeymoon. Like people just, the honeymoon is the only time that they did this over the summer, yeah. Okay, interesting. Thank you for sending that in, and I'm hoping that we can utilize the tools in this webinar so that you can take a real unplugged vacation. 3 years, oh my gosh, okay. So yes, I'm hoping you guys are taking lots of notes. So, wait, this past summer, because there was no signal in the mountains, see, it's kind of like my fantasy to get away and take vacations that are completely unplugged because of that reason, right? Hold on, I just unplugged my laptop. Okay, I'm back. So here are my tips for out of offices with relation to your calendar. So communicate holidays and upcoming out of offices with your team and clients at least 2 weeks in advance so that they know that 1, you will not be checking or responding to emails, text, calls, whatever it is that you need to clarify, and who they should contact if they do need immediate assistance while you are away. So oftentimes our team, if anyone is going on vacation, we are planning ahead. So we are sending whatever accounts that team member works on, we are having them prepare all of that content in advance while they're gone. So ideally we can get the green light and no one has to create for that like team member while they're gone. And I also included my out of office email template. So feel free to screenshot this or incorporate aspects of this into your out of office as well. But I essentially say, like, thanks so much for reaching out. I'm currently out of office and will not be checking my inbox until I return on this date. And keep in mind, it's important to note that this isn't the first time they're going to be made aware of my out of office. They will have been told it on client meetings at least 2 weeks in advance, if not like a month in advance. Like I know I'm taking some time off for my wedding at the end of March / beginning of April. And we're already, like, all of our clients have basically already been told this. So I think the sooner you know, the better. But it's important to let clients know who they can contact if they need something. So I'll say for immediate project needs, contact this person. For new project inquiries, contact this person. And for accounting needs, contact this person. And for anything else, I look forward to connecting upon my return. Okay, another great calendar policy is half-day Fridays. So it's everyone's favorite policy. We started implementing summer Fridays last summer, so 2022, when we were off at noon, and we all loved it. And so when we got back, so to clarify, summer Fridays typically are between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So like last weekend of May, first weekend of September. And so when we got back to work in normal hours, Labor Day 2022, it just showed, I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so nice if we could have this year round. And so that was when I started working the verbiage for our new office hours into our client agreements. And it took a while for clients to all get on our new agreement, right? Like I couldn't just implement it right away. So that way by summer 2023, we took our normal summer Fridays, but when September came around, I had it written into our policy for everyone. We're like, this is our policy. We're off on Fridays at noon, and it is amazing. And then if you are a little bit hesitant about half-day Fridays, or if you're worried that you're going to receive some pushback, this is also an out-of-office reminder for your email that you can set up as like a template. You do have to set it up manually to turn on every Friday at noon. But I say thank you for your email. Please note Homemade Social has implemented year-round summer Fridays. This allows our team a moment to reset and refresh so that we're able to better serve our clients. I look forward to connecting upon my return. So it just kind of reminds our clients, like, here's why we do this. And I think it's a polite way to say, like, hey, we do this so that we can serve you better. One last calendar policy is specifically in relation to meetings. So we have some rules. We say no same-day client meetings and emergencies are okay. And sometimes this shocks people when I tell them this, but it's important to note that all of our clients are on a reoccurring meeting invite. So either we meet with our client biweekly or we meet with them monthly. So they always know, when their next meeting with us is going to be. So there shouldn't ever be an instance where a client needs to be like, I need to meet with you right now, because it typically means like they didn't communicate something to us that they should have communicated it to us days ago. We also don't do meetings on Fridays. That's internal or external meetings. And because we're only working 3 hours on Fridays, this allows our team to really just zone in on the work, get stuff done, and clean up before, cross stuff off their list before the weekend. I also don't do meetings before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. This allows me to bookmark my day with productivity, delegating to my team, and like putting out any fires if necessary. I also only take discovery calls on Wednesdays or Thursdays, and I block off an hour for lunch each day. So it's always on my calendar. That doesn't mean I'm taking an hour for my lunch. It just means like I needed an hour in the middle of my day to be able to eat, because if not, I'm sure you guys can relate, my calendar fills up really quickly. Next boundary area we're going to talk about is phone. Comment in the chat if you've ever heard of Open Phone, because it is about to change your life. It is an app. It is $15 a month, and it allows you to keep your work phone and your personal phone numbers separate. So you can set up Do Not Disturb to turn on automatically after hours. So I say my business hours are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and Fridays, 9 to noon. If a client calls me or texts me after the office hours are over, or like before I've clocked in for the day, they get an automatic text or automatically sent to voicemail notifying them that like we are not available at this time. But I only use text messages for either emergencies or for setting up like two-factor authentication. Like for example, if we got logged out of a client's social media account and it sent them a like six-digit code, I'll just text them really quickly and say like, hey, just sent you a code, because the code's going via text anyways. But note that you can get 10% off the first 3 months of Open Phone using our link. It's openphone.com/perks/homemade-social. This is a new code we got over Christmas break. We sent so many people to their platform when I ran this webinar the first time that they were like, hey, we'd love for you to be a partner. Here is a discount code for you to share with your audience. So be sure to take advantage of that. It'll help save you some money in the long run. But again, a template for you guys to use. So if a client texts me and I am off for the day, it automatically sends them this. Thank you so much for your message. Homemade Social observes a strict yes, I did clarify this, sorry. Homemade Social observes a strict no texting policy, and you have reached us outside of hours. Please email Becca@homemade-social.com and I will get back to you during normal business hours. Email communication better allows our team to respond more timely, more fully, and keep records of our conversations. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. So I think that the key sentence here is email communication better allows our team to respond more timely, more fully, and keep records of conversations. Because how many times have you been trying to figure out what a client wanted or where they sent you a photo or like an attachment and you cannot track it down? This encourages our clients to really only communicate with us via email, because it allows us to CC our whole team. We can delegate, we can download, we can look at links. Like, it just makes our life so much easier, and I'm sure you agree as well. Okay, third area of boundaries are communication. So I have set communication boundaries regarding my Gmail app, our Slack, and then obviously texting and calls, which I'll get more into in a moment. So huge shocker here. I'm going to recommend that you guys delete the email/Gmail app from your phone. I did this years ago. I actually do have the Gmail app on my phone now, but it is only connected to my personal email. Or you can turn off notifications completely to reduce the temptation to check your email or clock in after hours. I think this is a boundary that like everyone should be implementing. But if you have to, you can go to gmail.com. If you know you need to reply to an email, or if you've been waiting on a client or a lead to reply to you, you can always go to gmail.com on like Chrome or Safari and check your email there. But that way you're not getting the notification, and because our clients know that we will respond to any request within 24 hours, I don't necessarily feel pressure to have to go in. If I'm like this morning, I was at the vet with my dog for the first hour of the day, and I didn't feel any pressure to have to go check my inbox while I was at the appointment, because my clients know I'll get to them very quickly. Okay, boundaries with Slack. If you guys use Slack, I love it. I just really recommend you only use it for internal communication, which is how we use it. So it's only for us to communicate with our team. We do not allow clients to like Slack with us. Again, just make sure you're setting up do not disturb to automatically turn on after office hours. And then be sure to sync your calendar with your Slack so that your team automatically knows when you're busy in a meeting or out of office. So I put a little screenshot in the bottom left corner that shows that like Becca is active, but she is in a meeting. So they know that they shouldn't expect a quick reply from me, but I will get to them soon. Also, boundaries with texting. Like I said, texting and DMs are strictly prohibited for client communication. And most importantly, no voice text messages. Those are the bane of my existence. I have to take notes while I'm listening to them. I don't know what important information is going to be like revealed to me as I'm listening. I can't share it with anyone. So I think it's really important to make sure that that is communicated well. Also, social media boundaries. I want to go into Opal and Instagram likes. Have any of you guys heard of Opal? I'm very curious. It is an amazing tool. I am going to assume that if you have an iPhone, you know about the screen, what is it called? Screen time limitations feature that they released a couple years ago. Opal is essentially like that times 3,000. It just allows a lot more customization, a lot more restrictions. And so you can set up custom restrictions for social apps, for really any type of app, going into also like text, calls, whatever. So I have it set up that so that Monday through Friday, social apps are restricted between 10 and 3 p.m. And as you can see from the screenshot, it does allow you to take a break or you can leave early depending on the level of difficulty you have the app set up to. So like because we work in social media, it's quite frequent that I need to go in and maybe like check in on a client post or whatever. So I can take a break and it allows me to like log in for 5 minutes or up to 15 minutes if I need to. But it also allows me to set daily app limits. And so that way, like, okay, I know I'm not spending any longer than 1 hour on Instagram a day or an hour and a half on TikTok a day. And my favorite feature is it has like a doom scroll shut off after 15 minutes. So if I had been on the same app scrolling for 15 minutes or like 15 minutes straight, it will cut me off. So it makes me like take a break for at least 15 minutes before I go back in. And I even have it set to have more restrictions on the weekend just so I am encouraged to enjoy my life off the screen. Okay, more service-based boundaries to put in place ASAP. If you guys are the owner of a service-based business, it's really important to have the scope of your work clearly defined in your contract. So for a social media agency, as an example, I used to see other social media managers when I would do consultations or trainings with them show me their proposal that says like, yes, my proposal says I manage the Instagram for my clients. I was like, okay, that's way too broad. You need to make sure your scope of work explicitly states how many posts per week across how many channels that you are going to be managing for them. And then in your contract, state an hourly rate that clients will be charged if you agree to take on any tasks or services outside of your originally agreed upon contracted scope of work. And it's also smart to potentially add on like late or rush fees. So if a client, again, communicates something to you that you know you could have been communicated earlier, you can put in a late or rush fee. And this makes it clear to clients that while yes, you're happy to help with additional projects here and there, it's just going to come at a cost to them for your time. So it's just important to have systems in place to be able to like foresee those issues quickly, but be able to help and address them if you can. Also, we have approval and content request deadlines with our clients. So this one has saved our team so much time. If rounds of revisions from your clients seem never ending or their responsiveness is causing delays in your processes, it's really important to add an approval deadline and revision limit to your contract. So our content request deadline essentially states that we need any content request to be made to us in writing at least 2 weeks prior to the desired go live date. So let's say a client is running a sale on St. Patrick's Day. We need to have the imagery, the sale information, the discount code, the links. We need everything we need to like be able to set up a successful campaign for that 2 weeks before St. Patrick's Day, like minimum. Also, when we send clients our content for review weekly, we give them 48 hours to approve. If they go beyond that, they are charged a fee. And then we also include what happens in our contract if additional edits are requested after the deadline has passed and if no feedback or approval is received at all. So sometimes a client will just ghost you and you can have the discretion then to say, okay, I do feel comfortable putting these posts out next week because of what we had previously discussed. Or it gives you the opportunity to say, you know what, let's pause everything until we hear back from the client. So use your clearly defined scope, boundaries, and hourly rate to your advantage when setting these boundaries. Okay, our content revision limit. So like I said, we send content for clients or to clients for their approval, and we allow them 1 round of revisions over that 48-hour period. And again, you want to make sure you're including what to do if the revision limit has been met and the client still wants more edits. Like, are they getting charged a flat fee for being late? Are they getting charged hourly? Are you not able to guarantee that you can make these edits after this time? It's just important to consider all these things. And this encourages clients to be both specific and comprehensive with their feedback, leaving little to no guessing work for you. So if a client knows like, okay, I get 1 round, instead of saying like, hey, I don't really like this story, can we try something new? They will ideally say, hey, I don't like the color of the background, can we try this in green and change the concept to be XYZ? Other things that clients are responsible for and what obligations they have. I would say it's important to remind yourself that your success is also dependent on their level of communication, and leading an account to success is a two-way street and will require a level of responsiveness and information from the client. So be clear about what is expected of the client in your service agreement to ensure a productive partnership. So client obligations and responsibilities may include, these are just examples, responding in a timely manner to prevent delays or a lapse in services, providing advance notice to cancel or reschedule a meeting to avoid a missed meeting or late cancellation fee, and then providing access to information, imagery, or assets that are reasonably requested to fulfill services. And always remember, no payment equals no services. I think when I was just starting out in business, I was much more lenient with this policy than I should have, but it's important to remember that like if they are late on their invoice, do not work for free. You deserve to be compensated for your time, so pause all activity until payment is received, and then further discourage late payments by stating in your social media management contract the interest rate that the client will be charged each day the payment is late. And I would recommend chatting with your accountant so that you can have like an appropriate percentage here. Okay, now that we've gone through a lot of our boundaries, I do want to see if any of this feels relatable to you guys in your business. So comment in the chat if any of this is relatable. Maybe you feel like you're working more than 40 hours a week. Maybe you're hesitant to scale because you can't handle more work with how much time your current clients are taking up. But you also feel advice online doesn't exactly apply to you. Like it maybe skims the surface, but it isn't necessarily going to solve your problem. Maybe you feel like you're spending way too much time making client edits or working on content requests that should have been communicated to you weeks prior. Maybe you struggle with client retention, and then maybe you feel like you can't make an impact without getting burnt out. So if any of this is applicable to you, please let me know in the comments which one is really hitting it home for you. And while you guys do that, I'm taking a selfie. Cute. Okay, especially the last two. Yeah, I definitely agree. What else? Or maybe all of these apply to you all. spending way too much time on edits. Yes, Haley, make sure that your social media management contract has that revision limit or that revision time limit, or both. We obviously use both to your advantage. Anything else? The second one for sure. Yes. That I think is how I felt most in 2021. Actually, sometimes I feel like we get to a level and I have to rework that bullet point every single time at the new level, you know, because like the challenges are different depending on your size and your client scope. But yes, I think that's something I can always work on. So I'm hoping you guys are also all on the same train as me, where you wish it was more like this, where you're making 10K a month or more. You had systems in your business to just copy and paste. You have summer Fridays all year long. You're able to grow with the same clients year over year. And you have an amazing team who you trust and respect, and you know they can handle and manage the fort while you take a vacation. And yeah, you have the ability to go on vacation or travel whenever you like. So this is what I was like, okay, this is what I want my life to look like. And that is why I have implemented so much of this. But this is why I created the Soft Social Media Manager. If you guys are new to the Homemade Social area, this is our signature course that I created last year to really help other social media managers and other service-based business owners to be able to scale while implementing boundaries and not just like paying homage to like the toxic bro working all the time culture. Like I felt all the resources I saw online just encouraged hustling, and I was like, this is not what I want at all. And so these are some comments I've received in relation to our course, in relation to being able to put these resources out on the internet. And I even included a screenshot here of our year-to-date comparison, now that we have numbers in from 2023, of our income growth after we implemented our Summer Fridays policy. So keep in mind, in 2022, yes, we worked Summer Fridays in the summer, but the rest of the year we were working 40 hours a week. And in 2023, we worked 35 hours a week and still made 35% more. So our Soft SMM course covers the following chapters. And spoiler alert, this boundaries webinar is just one of the 8 chapters. So if you found this valuable, I just want to emphasize, like, this is just one of the 8 chapters that I poured my heart and soul into with like everything I have learned in relation to growing my business. So chapter 1, I ensure, covers everything that you need to like mentally prepare your personal life, your mindset for growth, because there is internal things that have to happen to be able to get to this next level. But I cover what showing up as a social media looks like at each level as you scale, the exact investments I recommend and regret making at each income level, and then who and when to hire, offers to create and boundaries to set within your offers, how I recommend pricing out certain things. It just like goes into a lot of detail. Chapter 2, I work on identifying your sweet spot. So it's really important to niche down in your market, no matter what it is, like no matter what service you are offering. But I talk about how to promote yourself from the get-go, like depending on whatever phase of business you're already in, how to ask for a killer client testimonial, even if you've been working with a client for 2 months. How to build an amazing portfolio that clients can't turn down, and also my go-to resources and techniques for landing gigs through cold pitching and marketing yourself, and then how to make yourself feeling more fulfilled at work. Chapter 3, I go into packages and pricing, and this is the area that I think is life-changing because so many service-based businesses are undercharging themselves, especially if they're looking to grow and scale. So if you are like, I want to grow my team, 90% of the time, what has to happen first is you need to raise your prices. And so this chapter goes into how to confidently price your services to reflect the value of your work, the technique and verbiage necessary to justify your worth when presenting your clients with your price packages, why you should avoid billing hourly, other pricing packages like block retainers, availability retainers, and value retainers. And then I even go into tips for raising prices on your existing clients, because I think that is some of the most difficult conversations to have. And then chapter 4 is all about landing those higher paying clients. So now that you've raised your prices, how are you going to attract those higher paying dream clients that you've been dying to work with a long-term contract? And I even go into red flags to look out for when you're getting to know your leads. So that way you can avoid a potentially toxic client working relationship down the road. Chapter 5 goes into boundaries and contracts. So it is essentially what we covered in this webinar, plus more. Chapter 6 is systems and Asana. This chapter is life-changing if you feel like you are working without templates, if you're afraid to onboard a new team member because you know how much of a disaster it'll be for you to train them. This goes into all of our copy and paste systems that you can immediately implement into your business as well. Chapter 7, I go into building and managing your team. This goes into like first things first. How do you hire your first team member? How do you hire interns? How often do I check in with my team and make sure we're nurturing their work as well? And lastly, I go into client retention. So like, okay, you have the amazing team, you have the client side. How are you going to keep them happy year over year so that your business can grow alongside them? But that's not all that is included in our course. We have so many valuable resources and tools and downloads that are included in this, including our exact social media services lawyer approved contract. I think I saw a question about that in the chat. I'll get to that later, but our course includes our contract. It also includes how to set boundaries with social media clients download, our new client onboarding checklist, and 4 new client questionnaires, our content approval document, so the exact document we send to clients to make sure all content is approved and loved by them in a very timely, concise manner. Our meeting agenda template, so if you're hosting meetings with clients, you better be sending them a meeting agenda prior. Our new client welcome presentation template, our social media proposal template, and client onboarding email templates as well. So it literally has everything you could need to grow and scale your business. All you need to have the knowledge to do is how to manage social media. So this is just a framework for the business or any service-based business. Like if you're doing PR, a lot of this fits into that as well. So here I listed off our prices. We have 2 types of plans. So the 2 packages on the left, one is full price, one is a 3-month plan that includes our social media management contract. I know that some of you guys may have already downloaded our contract, and so the 2 on the right are the social media manager course without the contract. But again, you can pay in full or you can pay with a 3-month plan as well. But I already got a chance to chat with Sammy. She went through our course in like a matter of days, and I saw that she powered through. And so I DM'd her and I was like, hey, I would love to pick your brain and see what it was that you felt was super valuable in the course and where you think could use some extra work. And she gave me some really great tips, one of which I've already implemented into the course. And I'm still working on other improvements too. So shout out to Sammy, she's the best. But she is a mom of 2, and last year she kind of like made a goal to be like, okay, in 2024, I want to hire my first employee. And so now she is on track to, like when I chatted with her, she's already hiring her first employee. She had that job description out, and she's on track to make 3 times more revenue this year than she was last year, which is amazing. And then this is a coupon I promised for you guys. The coupon code is boundaries. So if you guys are interested in signing up for the Soft Social Media Manager, this coupon expires tonight, and it will give you an extra $500 off any package, any of the 4 that I listed on the previous slide. So again, your code is boundaries. It will get you an extra $500 off. You can scan this QR code to take you to the checkout page, but of course it is listed on our website. But I hope you guys found our boundaries webinar so valuable. I again want to emphasize that this is just one of like 8 chapters that I go into how I manage and scaled our social media agency so that you can do the same with your service-based business. Thank you again for tuning in. I am going to invite my team in. Again, we're writing down your guys' questions from the chat, and I'll get around to answering all of those. But if you have a question now, feel free to write that into the chat and I will answer it for you in a second. Okay, yes, Jamie, I see your question at the end of the chat. Yes, our contract that we sell includes all of these boundary points, all of them. And it is customizable to you, so you can obviously edit any boundaries that you might want to switch up, but thank you. But yes, the contract includes all of these, and then like I said, you can get that contract in our course, but our contract is also available for sale in our shop if you are not interested in the course today. Okay, and then, oh, there's really only one more question. Okay, you guys didn't have a ton today. Will this be recorded for us to keep? Yes, it will. We will send out a link for you guys to review that this afternoon. Okay, and Jennifer, hi Jennifer. Biggest struggle for me right now is how to grow a team. I trust no one. I know that is so hard. I would say, depending on where you're at in your self-employment journey, where I started, and again, I go into this in the course, like in the chapter about hiring. I started with interns. Let's back up. When I was a social media manager, before I was self-employed, I honestly hardly had any managerial experience. So I think starting with interns who worked for me was necessary for me to learn how to become a manager first. And then that allowed me to kind of like test and see like who do I work well with and what qualities do I need in an employee. And those internships served as like a semester-long training period and a semester-long like interview, so that at the end of the internship period, I knew like, okay, I trust this girl, or I know I can work alongside this person for a successful partnership. So I would recommend starting out that way, and then you can choose to hire on and scale as you see fit. But I go into in the course too, like how to determine what skill sets you need in an employee based off what your weaknesses might be. So, for example, if like I am an achiever, I'm an ideas person, I am a perfectionist and very detail oriented, so a majority of our team works on the creative side of things. They do a lot of the implementation of creative ideas, and I more so specialize in like systems. We got a new question. They asked, were these paid internships? No, they were not. I go into details to how to manage an unpaid internship. A lot of the universities nearby where we're located in Phoenix have opportunities for you to post unpaid internships for school credit. So you have to kind of apply to be approved to give school credit. It is a very simple tool. It's so worth it. And then each semester our interns basically ask us to complete paperwork, and they can get school credit for our internship. Okay, next question. Did it feel like more work though, managing clients and training interns to do what you needed them to do as well? It definitely is more work initially, but again, you have to think of it as an investment. Like, you know that I know I'm training these employees or these interns and really investing time in them for the first month of their role, so that way they can be independent. And it's definitely helpful that we have so many systems in our toolbox, so that way it's really easy for us at this point now to add someone into our systems and delegate tasks to them, because we have created looms and standard operating procedures for almost every single task that needs to get done in our business. So yes, it is initial work, but you have to get over that fear, because you won't be able to scale without it, and training is just a part of life. Next question, how do you suggest finding your ideal client when first starting out? I think when first starting out, it's important to write down a list of like, okay, where have I worked in the past, whether it was with clients or in jobs in the past or internships in the past. Like, what did I do really well, and what did I enjoy the most, and where is that going to overlap? Because oftentimes that is where the money is going to be. It's going to be like what you enjoyed doing and what you were really good at. And so you can always tweak your ideal client definition as you grow and scale and you get a little more experience with relation to how you work and where your services can provide the most value. So you don't think about it as like, okay, here's my ideal client, I'm never going to change it. But I think that's a really great place to kind of like define that from the get-go. Next question, did you try and find a niche or did it just happen organically? Yes, I've always tried to find a niche, but I have just been able to kind of like tweak it as we've grown and scaled. When I first started, I honestly marketed myself primarily with social and social advertising marketing services. But now that we've grown, a big part of our business, I would say, is like content creation, social media management, and email marketing as well. So it definitely varies, and that comes and goes with like, okay, my team member is really passionate about email marketing. How can I play into that strength so that we can have this team member be happy and our clients be happy too? Any other questions from you guys? I know we're coming up on about our hour mark, so if we don't have any more, that's fine, but be sure to utilize your Soft Social Media Manager coupon before tonight because this offer is expiring. I do want to say again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for saying yes to yourself, because some people see the word boundaries and they just think like, mine are fine. But I think it's an area that we can all always be improving on, and it takes a certain level of self-worth to even like show up today. So hats off to you guys. Here's to a really successful and scaling 2024. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to DM Homemade Social on Instagram. I'd love to see where you guys have been tuning in from. If you want to tag us on stories, we'll be sure to repost. But I hope to see you guys in the Soft Social Media Manager soon. So have a great day. Cheers. Bye.